This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stacey Van Dyke. It was only yesterday we learned of the first case of the Omicron variant detected in the U.S., and now the second case has been found in Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Health says the first case in the state is a man from Hennepin County. He recently traveled to New York City to go to an anime convention. He was vaccinated and boosted. State health officials say he developed mild symptoms on November 22nd and got tested a couple of days later. It's in the state's genome sequencing program that was used to detect this case.
Having this robust virus surveillance system allowed us to quickly identify Omicron once it was in our state, and frankly made it more likely that we would be among the first states to find the variant.
Meanwhile, Colorado has just become the third state that has identified a case of the COVID variant, and today the president unveiled a plan to head off a winter COVID surge during a visit to the National Institutes of Health. A big part of the plan, more vaccinations and booster shots for eligible adults and children. The plan also calls for distributing COVID treatment pills around the world and expanding free at-home testing. The president also extended the mask mandate for travelers until March, and all travelers coming into the U.S. by air must now take a COVID test within 1 day of departure. Some areas in the valley could see some snow showers that could impact the roads. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Stacey, thanks so much, and good evening, everyone. Most of us staying dry for now, but things are getting a little bit more active, and we can show you right as front row seat here what's going on in the Devil's Lake area. We do have flakes flying there, and the roads are wet, and at times the visibility is reduced as well, so take it easy. We're not really icing up in these places yet, but that is likely to come as we get into the later hours of the night. Some light accumulations possible, mainly north as we go through the night. I will not rule out some flurries of snow here in the FM area, but again, most of any accumulations tonight of around an inch to maybe up to 2 will be up north. Here's a look at that radar, and we do see some snow, and notice this, there's this boundary between the rain and the snow that kind of runs right here. So anywhere north of that boundary, expect flakes. Down to the south, some rain moving into the Ellendale area as we head into the evening. From Candu through Devil's Lake, though, we do have some showers of snow, and it's showing up on the radar here in the FM area, but we're not seeing any on the ground yet. Hutch's freezing line. North of that, below freezing. South of it, look at that, near 40 for Sisseton and for Oaks. Planning forecasts stable temperatures tonight in Fargo. Can't rule out a sprinkle. I don't think we have much to worry about accumulation until we get to the dark hours. We'll have hour-by-hour details on that, and first alert weather day for the Saturday night into Sunday time frame. Stacey will have details on that, and you get to meet a fantastic weather kid coming up here in just a few moments.
Looking forward to that. Thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
The parents of a boy accused of killing 4 students at a Michigan high school could face criminal charges. According to investigators, the gun was purchased by the teen's father last week. Prosecutors say their actions went far beyond negligence and that the gun seems to have just been freely available to the teenager.
Responsible gun ownership, including the security of a gun, is an absolute imperative to protect our community.
There's no Michigan law that requires gun owners to keep weapons locked away from children, and a lawyer says charging the parents would require a very fact-intensive investigation. 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley has been charged as an adult with 24 crimes. Still no word on what caused a house fire Tuesday just south of Horace. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says the fire's origin is also undetermined due to the extensive damage. That house was fully engulfed in flames by the time first responders got there. Officials say Dr. David Lotzer and Nina Kozlowski were inside at the time, but they were able to get out. Dr. Lotzer was injured but has been released from the hospital. The investigation into that fire is still ongoing. An 11th juror has been seated in the trial of the Brooklyn Center police officer who shot and killed Dante Wright during a traffic stop in April. 3 more are needed before opening statements in former Brooklyn Center officer Kim Potter's trial. She's charged with manslaughter in the death of Wright. She says she meant to use her taser to stop him after he pulled away from officers who were trying to arrest him during a traffic stop, but she drew her handgun instead. All Minnesota state troopers will be outfitted with new body cameras by June 30th, but officials say 40 of them will start wearing the cameras next week. About 645 troopers, in addition to state capitol security officers and commercial vehicle inspectors, will eventually be outfitted with the body-worn cameras. State Patrol says a new camera system will also be installed in every trooper's vehicle. A woman was arrested after a Cass County deputy says she was in the process of burglarizing a building. A deputy was patrolling an area west of Mapleton yesterday and noticed suspicious activity on a property just off County Road 10. Authorities say the deputy spotted Tina Retz in the process of committing that crime. They also say drug paraphernalia and a concealed weapon was found in her vehicle. Take a look at this. A man was caught on camera stealing packages containing Christmas presents off a doorstep in Bismarck. The police department posted this video on their Facebook page seeking the public's help in finding the suspect. A short time later, they were identified and the packages were all recovered. If you've paid more for a restaurant meal recently, you aren't alone. Increases in the cost of labor, food, and nearly everything else restaurants need to do business are driving owners to raise prices or take items off the menu entirely. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley spoke to one local diner today who says despite the daily challenges, they're making it work.
Camp. The recent supply chain bottlenecks and pent-up demand due to the pandemic has taken its toll, with many items fluctuating in price and availability multiple times per week.
Chicken wings are a perfect example. We used to be able to get a case of chicken wings for maybe $50, and then they were $140 to $160 for a while.
As of September, the U.S. Bureau of Labor says the prices consumers pay at restaurants and bars has gone up almost 5% compared to last year. But Rogenkamp says the restaurant business isn't like others, as their prices can't be raised regularly.
I can't reprint my menus that often.
So instead, Rogenkamp says it's the business that ends up taking the brunt of those added costs, which then forces them to be frugal in other places, like portion sizes, electricity, and dish breakage.
Getting dishes used to take 3 or 4 days, and it's been up to 11 weeks sometimes because of being on a barge in the middle of the ocean or whatever.
She says she increased prices on her menu just 2 months ago for the first time since 2018, saying most increases were only by a quarter.
Sales-wise and business flow is going up, but the margins of profitability are very small.
Rogenkamp says most customers have been understanding and supportive during the difficult time and encourages everyone to continue to show compassion to those in the service industry as they continue to navigate through the unknown waters. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
They say the shortages haven't taken anything off their menu right now. However, Randy's Diner has had to temporarily remove items throughout the last few months. The new Randy's location in West Fargo is slated to open in February. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz made a stop in Dilworth today to get a look at sites of projects he's considering to include in his 2022 bonding proposal. He took a tour of the fire station in Dilworth, which officials say has major safety concerns for the 30 volunteer firefighters. A new fire station would cost $6.5 million. They already have $2.3 million in local funding. They're asking for about $3.2 million from the state.
We can't ask them to take home carcinogens off fire after they've been out at a fire. We can't ask them to not have clean equipment ready to go. We can't ask them to fill their bottles for oxygen in a situation that is not as safe as it needs to be.
Hear much more from Governor Walz, the Dilworth Fire Chief, and Mark Empting tonight on Valley News Live at 6. It's about to get lit in West Fargo after the weather. We'll be live at a Christmas tree lighting ceremony.
And our weather making some changes overnight last night. Beautiful sky conditions. In fact, a little glow in the lower sky there north of the Devil's Lake area. First alert weather day means some snow's coming, particularly on the weekend and overnight tonight. And some sub-zero temperatures are heading our way as well. Your hour-by-hour forecast is coming up right after this.